Welcome, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Broken Not Shattered BNS podcast. Today, my guest is someone who is actually on the bright, lovely shine of the United States in California. But before she comes in, I have a big surprise. I know you haven't seen him in a while. It's my co-host, OBG. What's up, Obi? Where you at? Hey, what's up, big man?
Hi, good to see you. It's been a long time coming together on the show.
Yes, it has. I don't know. I think it's my side. There's a weak link in my internet, but just ignore me. Just go ahead and do what you got to do. As long as our guest is fine, we're gonna bring in a few minutes. This awesome, exciting, and I think her story is so uplifting that when I read her bio, I said, no, this is who we're going to have on our show this weekend. And no one else but our lovely and beautiful guest, Miss Grace Redmond. Grace, welcome to the BNN podcast. How you doing?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, OBG and Ike. I appreciate you.
Thank you. How's it going? Tell us about your background, Grace.
So I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I've been an entrepreneur for 26 years in an industry where there's a 75% failure rate. So I've been able to, shatter those glass ceilings and be successful for those 26 years. And it hasn't been easy, but here I am, and I'm excited to join the two of you today.
Good. What is this industry that has this kind of very high failure rate?
Yeah, so I've been in the staffing industry for 26 years, and 9 years ago, I started a success coaching side of the business where I help individuals shatter their own glass ceilings to achieve the desired results, both in their life and in their business.
And how has that been?
It's been amazing. And, you talk about broken, not shattered. And it's because I've been through so much adversity in my own personal life and in my business that I'm able to really see and hear and understand the clients that I work with. Because as we know, the majority of us are constantly navigating our own personal and professional storms. And it's through the resilience that really help us rise and continue to be successful. And so, as you say, broken, not shattered, you're right. None of us are broken. And despite our circumstances, we really can arise to create a life that is meaningful to us and a life that we love.
Wow. I completely agree on that one, that we can actually rise from the ashes. I'm a living testimony of someone who's done that. I want to believe Obi2 has Obi2 has his own story. Obi, go ahead. Ask your questions.
So, Grace, looking at you honestly, you epitomize the saying, we do not look like what we've been through. Because going through your bio, there was a whole lot I saw that got my jaw drops. And it popped a whole lot of questions that I don't know where to start from. But one of the things that inspired me that I said I must ask you is what inspired you to write that book, Can I Live?
That's a great question. So when I was 19 years old, I found myself in a very abusive and toxic relationship with a boy. And there was an afternoon after, work, I was excited to go see him and pick him up. So, we could go and have a nice dinner and have fun. However, when I got to his office to pick him up, I was a few minutes late, and he came out and he punched me, and he threw my keys on top of the roof of the building. And I sat there on the sidewalk, just feeling ashamed and devastated and alone, hurt. And at that time, there was nobody that I could go to, because in the world that I grew up in, you don't go share those types of experiences. I would be humiliated, and I would have for sure humiliated my family. So I internalized that experience. And there was a small voice inside of me that told me, like, this is not healthy. This is not okay. And so, by the grace of God, I was led to Catholic Charities, where they offered me $8 therapy because I was a student. So I met the lady, Rebecca, that I would work with on and off for the next 25 years. 9 years ago, when I started my coaching side of the business, I reached out to her and I let her know that, I'm starting a coaching side of the business. I'm going to be, helping people, meet their life and business goals. And she said, Grace, I'm going to be transparent with you, and I hope you don't get offended. When I met you, when you were 19 years old, I didn't believe that there was any hope left for you. I thought that you were going to continue to walk down the path of abuse and dysfunction and neglect. And I said, wow. I said, I'm not offended at all. That just speaks to the resilience of the human spirit. And many people have always asked me, like, how did you do what you did? Like, how did you get from there to here? And so that's why I was inspired to write the book. And I really write about the steps that I took to help myself rise and to get from, that broken 19-year-old girl to this very at 54 now, I'm very successful entrepreneur. I've been successful, I'm a healthy family, I'm healthy. And so that's really what inspired me, because I believe that anyone can rise despite their circumstances.
Wow. That's very inspiring. I hope someone who heard that story will definitely take a leaf from that and know that there is hope. And there's always, like I always say, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. One of my favorite saying, Grace, is that a living dog is always greater than a dead lion. A living dog is much greater than a dead lion. So as long as we still have life and breath in our lungs, there's always opportunities and hope that we can become who God has designed us to become. Great story. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Obi, go ahead.
Thank you, Ike, for that input. But then again, you are someone who has navigated through life and difficulties. At some point, you made a statement that life became your greatest teacher.
Yes.
You've been through addiction, cancer, you were able to raise businesses, and then you became successful in various businesses. Can you give us in summary what those journeys were like, from cancer to the home? How were you able to navigate all these things and then appeared successful at the end?
Yes, that's a great question. Something about me that I've learned is that I'm really addicted to the results as opposed to the consequences. And so we all are going to be navigating life storms. They are inevitable. And those storms help cultivate our resilience. And I recognize that. And so the reason that I've been able to navigate life storms and push through and cultivate this resistance, because I have a vision of what the results will be. Because I know if I act like the victim and I fall, I'm not going to achieve the results that I want to achieve. I'm not going to be, the mother that I want to be to my children, the wife that I want to be to my husband, the entrepreneur that I want to be to my employees. So that's what helps me move forward, is I focus on what are the results of me pushing through this storm. Instead of if I just give up, the consequences are I'm not going to achieve the desired result. I'm not going to create the future that I want for myself and my family. And that pushes me.
That's actually mind-blowing. But then there was one striking thing. And I kept imagining how that moment turned out for you. And that was at the moment when the doctor diagnosed that you had cancer. How did you receive that, and how was the cancer?
that was a defining moment for me, because I had been just experiencing, tremendous success. I was feeling good, emotionally and mentally. I could feel that something was off physically, but I just thought it was because of my age, and it was that stage in life that I would feel less energy. And when they told me about the diagnosis, they said to me, "You will never be the same again. Your health is going to decline." And that, that fighter in me said, "Oh, watch me. You can't tell me that I'm never going to be the same again. I am sovereign over myself." And so I had some conviction in my mind that I was going to prove them wrong. And I had known many people who had overcome very dire, cancer diagnosis to come out ahead and to be healthy. And so I knew what I wanted the results. The results I wanted was for me to come out on the other side of this storm healthy and strong. And so that's what I focused on. And I began making lifestyle changes and adapting new habits to achieve the results I wanted. Had I allowed myself to believe the statement that I would never be the same again, then I would have fallen victim to another person's beliefs.
Wow.
So I chose to stay true to myself and believe in what I wanted my future to be. And I also had to surrender and have faith in the God of my understanding, which is, easier said than done, because it's hard to see. Faith is not something we can see.
That's right. Yeah.
And so with the grace,
it's something hoped for. The evidence of things we can't see. Powerful. Right. Wow. Phenomenal.
So I'm to results. I'm not interested in consequences. And that's why I navigate the storms the way I do. And those storms for all of us have opportunities and lessons.
Yes.
And you get to choose. Do you want to be a victim or a victor?
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
So one good take away from what you said now is the ending part. That your storm could be what? You remember what you just said? Now, so I tell people that most times your message could be in your mess.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
Be in the storm.
And when, as a coach, the first thing that I do when I'm working with people is, let's be honest, put your mess on the table. The areas that need improvement, typically there is a mess there. And then what's the story you're telling yourself? Because what's your part? And typically the mess is found in the story. And then let's write a new story.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
The mess is in the message for sure.
The mess is in the message.
The message is in the mess for sure.
That's right. That's right. That's a powerful one. Good job.
So I can take over what you have to say.
No, this is one of those interviews that I don't intend to talk much. I think yes, I know. I was like, what? He's not saying anything. No, I'm not saying much, because I think your story says a lot.
Thank you.
From victim to victory, and now you're triumphing so much that there is someone out there watching you and saying, I can do it, right? There's a lady who's watching right now wondering, that sounds like me, but I seem to have given up, right? Talking to someone recently, and they said that for some reason that they found themselves recently feeling very sad. And I said to them, life is always in you. You gotta go back. You gotta go back in deep. The challenge most of us have is to pause and look deep inside of ourselves.
Yes.
Because it gets scary sometimes.
Absolutely.
I said, life is in you. Whatever is making you sad is on the external.
That's right.
So you need to be able to say, this is what this is in. That's triggering this feeling, and then begin to deal with it from the inside.
That's right.
If it's a concern that you have, you bring up the concern and address it.
That's
Right?
right.
If it's a fear you have, you confront it.
That's right.
Mm.
Right? So because at the end of the day, they're all things on the outside, but
That's
the truth is in you. Light is in you. And so you have to go deep and say, this is what it is. This is what I'm afraid of. This is what I'm concerned about. This is where my weakness is, or whatever it is that you're dealing with, and then begin to address it from that perspective. So just like Grace has done in her own story.
That's
So
cool. And I want to be transparent. Recently I'm going through, one of life's storms, and I'm going to be, like I said, very transparent. Like I fell off, and I was feeling, like, okay, this is too hard. And I was feeling, when is it, going to come? So I was losing my patience, and I was going in my mind, like, oh my gosh, I've been through so many hard things. Why is this still hard? And then I remembered, I'm not practicing what I preach. I was focusing on the things that were going wrong.
yeah.
Instead of having gratitude for the things that were going right and navigating the storm with grace and ease. I was in resistance. I was, pushing things and forcing, instead of, like you said, pausing, surrendering, being grateful, surrendering to the God of my understanding. And then once I did that, I was like, oh, why was I pushing up against that wall? And I have to remind myself and have compassion. Like, I'm human.
Yes.
I'm human. I want what I want. And I had to go back to the basics. And like you said, go within instead of focusing on what wasn't working outside of me. Because we are always, all is well.
Yes, all is well. I completely. I think I thank you for your transparency there. I think it's very important that I always tell folks that one size does not fit all.
That's
Everyone's
right.
story is different. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's highs and everyone's lows are also different. And one man's ceiling is another man's roof. Or
That's right.
Yeah.
one man's ceiling is another man's steps, or whatever it's called, right? So,
Right.
you always see life is just full of ups and downs.
That's right.
And when you're down, it's not the right time to quit. It's just like the stock exchange. They always advise you when the stocks go down, don't sell out. Just wait, because it's gonna rise up again.
That's
So,
right. And rest.
and what'd you say?
Rest.
Yes, rest.
And
Yes.
have fun. And so that's
Yeah.
what's been missing. I've been working too hard, and I have, like I said, I haven't practiced what I preach. And we really need to, yes, we do need to take action to create, extreme success. And we must rest, pause, and we must have fun. Because when we're in a fun energy and we're in a high vibration and we're feeling good,
Right.
we attract opportunities, possibilities. We bring people into our lives who are those angels.
That's
Nothing
right.
is a coincidence. But when we're in resistance, we're closing ourselves off to the beauty of what's possible.
That is so true. I think Obi, this is a good place for us to take a break, and
Yeah.
then when we'll come back and we'll just continue. I'm gonna ask Grace a question. I think she said you were talking about success. The question I'll ask you when we come back, I guess you can use the break to think about the right answer to give to us, is what does success mean to Grace? What does that mean to you? Okay.
Okay.
All right, Obi, let's go with our break.
Now.
Welcome
Yeah,
back to the BNS podcast. We are, this is me and my boy OBG, who's in Lagos, Nigeria. And obviously, our wonderful, beautiful, and so inspiring guest that we have today, Grace Redmond, who's actually in San Francisco. Grace, welcome back again to the BNS podcast. I'm super excited to have you. Before we ended, you talked about success, right? And we have to work hard to success. But again, someone is sitting down there wondering these questions and saying to us, what is success? Because success to me might not be success to Grace, it might not be success to Obi. As a coach, what is success to you?
For me personally, what success means to me is, number one, I want to I'm having fun, connecting with like-minded people. I feel good. I wake up feeling like I have a purpose, and that I'm able to, provide for my family and just have emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical and financial freedom. That's what success means to me. Just to have that freedom to move in life in a way that feels good to me and to be able to provide for my family and my community.
Wow. You couldn't have said it better. Obi, what does success mean to you? If you don't mind my asking you to, Obi.
so for me, yeah, I think it might look, how best do I put it? Because she probably defined what success to be, and I quite agree with that. But then for me, also success is definitely being able to, be happy, healthy, and keep living. That's
Yes.
the three dimensions of success. But then before
Wow.
you got to asking that question, what success meant to her, I had wanted to ask her one thing that I was looking at. So forgive me to say that she represents all that we here in Brooklyn, North Shattered represent.
That's
We've
right.
had
Yeah.
acts that are one dimension. One dimension, I mean, it could be health challenge, it could be business, it
Mhm.
could be addiction. But
Yeah.
she came with multiple dimensions of challenges and she was able
Wow.
to scale. And I see her as an ambassador for years. This is
Wow.
by the
Thank you.
way.
I'm
So,
and
so, so one of the catching point is moving away from other challenges, you became a very successful entrepreneur. And I believe you've been able to touch on points about people who had health challenges, who had addictions, who had other issues. But for one who is an entrepreneur or intending to, what were those, biggest mindset blocks that you encountered as an entrepreneur? And how were you able to navigate? What do you have to say in that direction? And what were those pivotal moments that you could share that were life changing moments for you as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur?
So what I heard you say is, what were some life-changing moments for me that helped me shift my mindset?
As an entrepreneur, yes.
Entrepreneur. So in 2008, we were having there's two sides of the business. There were two sides of the business, and one side of the business was extremely successful, and I was noticing the other side of the business begin to dip. And if you remember what happened at the end of 2008, 2009, there was, a major economic crisis.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
had experienced, all of the success, and then I woke up on January 2nd of 2009 to almost no billing in my business. The business was pretty much almost gone financially. There wasn't any billing. I was devastated. That was over 15 years ago. So I was still, still young, didn't have the wisdom I have now. And I was in bed and crying, and I didn't know what to do because, that was my livelihood, and I was contributing to my family in a tremendous way financially. And in that moment, I had a decision, to make, because I wasn't the only one suffering. I mean, the entire country was and probably the world was in an economic crisis.
That's right.
So in that moment, I made a decision that I was going to get up and I was going to focus on service, because I wasn't the only one suffering. Everyone was suffering. And so if I got up, focused on service, and, reached out to the people who had helped, us become successful, see that how I can support them and stay focused on the relationships and nurturing them, that we would rise beyond that storm. And
Mm.
so that's what I did. I shifted my mindset from, oh my God, this is happening to me, to how can I help? I took the focus off of myself.
Mm.
And my accountant was surprised that at the end of that year, our bottom line, we were in the black. Of course, we didn't have the numbers that we did in years prior. We took a major, major hit
Hit.
that year.
Mhm.
However, I was still able to keep the company in the black. And it was because I focused on the relationships and service that we were able to keep our doors closed when so many other staffing firms closed their doors. And that's why I've made it through 5 economic crises, because when that storm comes, I turn, I'm constantly about service and relationships. And I just made it even more about serving during those difficult times, because honestly, when we take the focus off of ourselves and we focus on helping others, it really helps us, and it helps us keep moving forward during those challenging times. So that's how I did it, and I continue to do that through the storms.
And where did that experience come from? Where did you get that concept of relationship and service? How did you? Was it something that happened when you were growing up? Something you saw along the way? Because that's powerful.
That's a great question. So as a young girl, I was the oldest of 5 children.
Okay.
And as all children, you want attention, you want to be seen, you want to be heard. And as the oldest of 5, it was, my parents were very busy. They had 5. I was the oldest, so they depended on me to take care of everyone. But what I learned as a young age, unconsciously, the way that I got my attention was to be of service, was to nurture relationships. So I believe, it started as a form of survival for me, as a coping mechanism. And then as I got older, it just became innate to be of service and to nurture relationships, because every action we take is to help us feel good. So it made me feel good. And so it became something innate. But like you talked about earlier, like going deeper. So that's how I learned to be of service and to build and nurture relationships, because as a young girl, it helped me get seen and care. Whereas now for me, I just enjoy helping others and building relationships. I get what I need from God and spirit, and I just want to give it to others, because that makes me feel good when I'm helping others and when they feel seen and heard. I give what I would like to receive.
Amen. 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 All right, that sounds great. She gives what she likes to receive. All right, we've got 2 more minutes left before the end of the show. So Obi, go ahead, take the last question. If not, then I'll chime in.
I think because
Sorry.
I have a whole lot to ask.
Go ahead.
I have a whole lot to ask her.
She's here. She's here.
I just want you to let the audience know what your last word for them would be, if you're given the time to just give your last word.
My last words to the audience.
Yeah.
If you have a dream in your heart and you have a vision, it's not there by accident. If you have a vision and a dream, I want to let you know that it is possible. It was not put there on accident. And just have faith in yourself and the God of your understanding, and have conviction in your dream, because I'm here to share with you, no matter your circumstances, you can absolutely rise and create whatever that dream and vision that you have within you. It's possible.
Wow.
It's possible.
That is so true. It is so possible. So if there's someone out there who just heard those powerful words from Grace Redmond, just believe in yourself, believe in God, and just believe that whatever it is possible. Whatever dream it is, it's possible. If the dream is too small, it's not the dream, because your dream, but whatever is put inside of us, has to be bigger than us. If it's just you, then it's just you scratching around. It has to be bigger than you. It doesn't have to make you a billionaire just for someone who's watching, but it has to impact life. It has to be something that gives of you to impact and change life, one way or the other.
Yes.
Great.
And it could be as simple as, if you love baking and you want to be the neighborhood baker.
There you go. Yep. And you be the best baker around in the neighborhood, serving the best cookies and the best loaves of bread ever in that neighborhood. So yes, whatever is in you, just push it. It's possible. Grace, wow, thank you. The name Grace means a lot. We ask God for grace all the time. So hey, we got grace. Oh wow. Okay, so Grace, this is what we've done in the last couple of shows. It started early this year when I first was flying back on an international flight. I saw it on a podcast and I started incorporating it in the show. So normally someone would have asked a question before you came on, and then that question, not knowing who the person is going to be on the show with, we'll put that question to the person, and the person has to ask the question.
Okay.
Now, if I remember, the last guest asked a question and asked, what is it that makes, whoever the next guest was, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that triggers you to get to be a blessing or to be an impact to everyone around you? What is it exactly? That was what the question was from the last guest.
What makes me tick?
Yes. What as in, like, what gets you excited? That thing that you can do for free.
To honestly, it's so funny you asked me that, because last night I was thinking, if I didn't have to work, or I, could do whatever I want, what would I do? And this is exactly what I would do. I love sharing my testimony and, helping others realize their dreams and their goals. We all have incredible within us. So that's exactly, I'm doing exactly what
You love doing.
I love doing, and having these deep conversations and being authentic and vulnerable,
Wow.
and being an example of what's possible.
Wow. Well, that being said, you're on the right platform, you're the right guest, because you just did that. At least 1,000 people are going to watch this on the first day as it's going out right now. And then later on, I know more people are going to watch it. Grace, thank you for your time. Now, before we end, you have to ask the next guest any question you want.
Okay, I get to ask the next guest.
You don't know who he, she, whatever.
Okay.
We don't.
So my question to the next guest is, describe your future self to us.
Obi, write it down, please, so you don't forget. Describe your future self to us.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. On that note, Grace, thank you for your time. Thank you for gracing this great podcast of ours. Obi, your last word?
Okay. Yes. Well, what I have to say is this. Grace has inspired us a lot. And I would want to propose that we bring back Grace again for a premium edition where we could go beyond 30 minutes, if possible,
Okay.
an hour.
I would love that. I would love that. Also, something that
Go ahead.
Are we still recording?
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So something that inspires me too is I'm, a Palestinian American woman, and it's very important for me to continue to push the envelope and to rise because of, our people and their struggle. That's why it's important for me to continue to show up and to move forward, to show that, we are kind and loving and generous and good people.
And I believe that. Completely believe that. I agree with that. Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks. Oh wow, that's big. That's big. I'm gonna make sure we use that as one of our shorts. Definitely. Yes. Thank you. Grace, thanks for your time. For me, I just want to say, everyone have a great weekend wherever you are, and just continue to believe in yourself. Like Grace said, once you dream it, it's possible.
Yes.
In my famous 3 words: love, peace, and more grace. See you next week. Oh, Grace, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me at graceredmond.com. That's my website. And I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and my podcast is Real Talk with Grace Redmond. So everything's on my website.
Okay, great. Well, there you go. Obi, thank you, sir. Until next week.
Good to see you.
All right, sign off.